I need to ask you a question. Be curious, drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin, take a bow. Barraquil, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bobbed, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny, trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzerland, a big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. It's an enormous weekend. We've got 6 Group 1s. We've got lots of black type. Golden Slipper. Mm-hmm. Where does it rank for you? Just off the top of your head in our top 10 races. Because it's got to be in the top 10, surely.
In terms of, like, how horny I am for it
how
each
horny
year.
you get for it each year.
Pretty horny. Like, Slipper Day in general is, like, one of the great days.
Yeah.
Half the Group 1s, like, shouldn't be Group 1s for starters. But,
Yep.
like, I never have success in, say, like, a Galaxy or anything like that. So it's like, I think it's a good addition this year, though. But the Slipper, year in, year out, is just... It's like the grand final of grand finals.
It is the grand final.
So
Because there's a path that's been trodden year after year. You know what the route is to the grand final.
all right, so if I'm just to kind of paint a picture of what gets me up and about, if I'm to
Pseudoephedrine.
kill back, I'm a bit crook drifters. So it's what I do to bring you content, free content by the way, each week.
Yeah, so subscribe.
Melbourne Cup is still top of the tree for me. I'd say what would be number 2? Probably Cox Plate. And then I'd say the Everest, Golden Slipper, Stradbroke, like right there.
Caulfield Cup,
Yeah.
just below that.
Unless you've got like a really nice futures bet.
Yeah.
Then that's my favourite race of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. Cox Plate's my favourite race. I'd say Golden Slipper. Even though I can't pick a winner in it to save my life, he's right up there. It's just the 2-year-olds going nuts. Going hell for leather. I'm really looking forward to it. You can go on about, this is a bit of a subpar year of 2-year-olds, but they're not contesting weight for age, are they? They're battling against each other.
They're not against the older horses.
No. So we've got to try and find a winner and plenty of value.
One of them has to win it by default.
By default.
So we will find a winner in it, I'm sure.
I'm positive.
Yeah. But before we can get to the gloriousness of Rosehill, I think we do need to kind of just get Moonee Valley out of the way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, we can't give them the best stuff. Like,
No, we have to leave them hanging a little bit. Actually, a horse who's won at the Valley a bit retired this week, Bella
Bella
Nipotina.
Nips. Saw that.
Another one bites the dust. So that's the trifecta from the Kingsford Smith.
Wow.
Or the Doom at 10,000. One of them.
Kingsford Smith. Yeah.
Retired. That's what happens when you come to Queensland.
Wow. Yeah. The sunshine's too good.
Real leave it all out on the turf type situation.
Yeah. Her best win.
Everest, 3 wide, no cover. That was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah. Her Manicato was pretty good.
Very good. Best losing effort, I'd say her Stradbroke run. She was nearly top weight, wasn't she?
Yeah. Just about. If not top weight.
Crazy.
Yeah. She, iron horse. You know, she was built like a tough 6-year-old gelding. She was absolute brute at the thing.
She was.
But yeah. Just didn't come up. What happened? Do you know?
I'm thinking she didn't come up, like wasn't probably loving her work, and they thought, you know what?
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
So
you never know with that stable though, because they put Pride Jenny out there and then she was fine. It's like, will she just come out of retirement for the Queensland Winter? I don't know.
She might.
Does retirement actually mean anything anymore?
No, it doesn't. It's just the age that we're living in.
That's it. All right. Moonee Valley. So the rail is in the true. When's the last time we had a meeting at Moonee Valley? I feel like it's ages.
Oof. I feel like have we had one since the Blue Diamond? Like the Blue Diamond's obviously not at Moonee Valley, but
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Rail is in the true position. There is 3 to 20 mil due for Thursday, and then 0 to 4 mil on Friday. So if it's the upper end of that, I think there will be a little bit of juice in the track. If it's the lower end, I think they'll chuck some irrigation on. So who knows where it will land. Now I have 6 races for us to cover. And the first one is the Valley Pearl, listed 1,200 metre 2-year-old race at set weights.
Where's the Jack Sparrow, the curse of the Valley Pearl? I was trying to find some sort of omen bet in this because good luck to you.
You know who won this race last year?
Is she in the Aussie Kia Silks?
No.
Who won it?
Growing Empire won this last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Lots can change in 12 months, drifters.
From Bitter Creek, who went on to run, I reckon he placed in a JJ.
Yep, he did, and he won on Cox Plate Day.
And Sassy Jenny.
Right.
Just one of them. I've actually done that for every single race that we're covering.
Fantastic.
Because grand final day, you have to do something a bit special, give some context, and people go, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Particularly when a race like the Golden Slipper, if you're trying to find the winner, you look at previous results, and that can sometimes be a guide.
Yes, mate.
We're talking barrier draws. We're talking all this other shit that we'll cover later.
So let's not spend too much time on this race because I feel like a bucket of shit. So let's keep it going.
Yep.
I don't have a selection in this race.
No betting race. Shagui, the Godolphin horse, he's on the quick backup after running well last start. He only got out late and ran into third. And that was behind Military Tycoon from memory down the straight. So I'm just thinking to myself, no, maybe not. Pure Passion beat Shagui last time it ran. A little filly from the Peter Moody and Kat Coleman stable. Like if I was going to have a bet, I'd probably find a little bit more value with her. She's $5.50 with the good people at Ned's. So could see you into that, but yeah, probably a no betting race for me.
Yeah. Race 6 is the Alistair Clark Stakes, Group 2, 2,040 metres for the 3-year-olds at set weights. Last year, Antrim Coast won this at about 50 to 1, I reckon, from Quintessa and Zipaway. So that, if you remember correctly, this horse had form around the Kiwi mare, now mare, that she was a 3-year-old, who came over and won the binary.
Orchestral?
Yes.
Gotcha.
I've actually put as a comment, this is a Group 2 race.
Yeah, crazy.
Your favourite is Shanwa from Emphasize and Opening Address. Like, not a vintage edition.
Certainly not. But Shanwa won a Group 2 last start, the Autumn Classic. Wouldn't classify that as a Group 2 either. Beat Confetti Garden and Imperialist. But I think he wins again. Shanwa. That'd be 4 on the bounce. No spoiler, $2.60 with the good people at Ned's. But I thought he was dominant. And he comes up against a similar quality field. Your second favourite is $4.40 Emphasize, and he was in that race against Shanwa last start. Ran fourth. So, no thanks. No thanks for anything else except for Shanwa in that race. That's a nice bet for me.
Race 7 is the Alexandra Stakes, 1,600 metres, Group 3 for the 3-year-old fillies at set weights and penalties. Vibrant Sun won this last year from Gring Zingerberger and Vivi Air. So, I think they use this as a potential platform for the South Australian Oaks.
Yes, I believe so. Two Down Lizzie's come up $3 favourite. Got absolutely spanked by Treasure the Moment last start. Treasure the Moment's clearly so much better. And if she was here, what price do you reckon she'd be? Like $1.20?
Yeah.
Like Winks-like odds. So I can understand why she's come a favourite, but I'm prepared to forgive number 2, Silicap. It was in that race as well, and it was held up, got vetted. And you know what, prepared to forgive. I think it started at a relatively short price in that race. So you're getting $7.50 here with the good people at Ned's. If you go back to its start prior to that, in the Desirable Stakes, listed race, it was way too strong towards the end. So 1,600 metres here. Happy to be on it. $7.50.
Sneaky surprise. I thought was okay behind Treasure at the Moment. Probably just got a bit too far back $5 versus $3 for 2 Dun Lizzie. I think that horse could beat the other one home. So we will see. Race 8 is the Sunline Stakes, Group 2, 1600 metre weight for age for the fillies and the mares. I reckon Mystic Journey won this one year after she won the All-Star Mile. Last year, this was won by Eternal Flame. I remember we were on her almost every start. Jumped off, then she won this, and I was furious. From Rumbled Again and Campionessa. So, again, not a vintage edition.
No.
Speaking of Gringzinger Burgers, she lobs up here after scratching from Sydney last week. Barrier 10, Declan Bates, fascinating booking there because Frosty usually rides her, but he's in Sydney for the slipper. Declan Bates could just do a Pride of Jenny sort of ride here, I feel. $6. I was happy to be on at 40s last week. So far easy here. I could see her in the finish. Give him something to chase.
I think Grinzinger Bell can win. She's a fantastic chance, absolutely. Us Joneses love Moonee Valley, and Lady Jones does as well. 3 starts here, 2 wins, and a second, including a win on Cox Plate Day.
When we tipped the card.
When we tipped the card. Nice and easy. She's drawn outside Grinzinger Bell, and that's perfect because I think she'll get a drag across and she can sit relatively handy. I thought she was good enough resuming over 1,400 metres where she ran third to Is It Me, who brained him. And she's come up at each way odds again. Lady Jones at $10. So prepared to have a bet. If Wishlaw Lass wins this, I'll be sick. But she hasn't shown anything this prep.
Lady Jones is a huge price. Considering she was against the boys last start too.
Huge price.
Double figure sort of stuff.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. So they were the two for me. Gringzinger Burger and Lady Jones, the mum of the podcast.
Yes.
Now the Billy Reid Stakes, Group 1, 1,200 metres, weight for age. I'm still seeing a $3.10 for Jimmy. Is this a...
I think Jimmy wins. Jimmy wins, yeah. Never been to the Valley track, Jimmy, but the way he gets around Caulfield would suggest to me that it won't be an issue. You also look at, Gate 2, a little bit sticky, and a part of me is like, Sir Rupert Clark, he couldn't get out. Different setup here. And I think the different setup is only accentuated by the fact that Ethan Brown rides again. When he was in the Rupert Clark Stakes, Jimmy Starr, Damien Lane was on. I think Ethan Brown, Jimmy Starr is a match made in heaven. He knows how this horse operates. Even though he's drawn Gate 2, he's just going to sit him on the fence and just be incredibly patient.
Yep.
Short, sharp turn of foot. As soon as the gap opens up, which I imagine it will, bang.
Bang.
I think Jimmy Starr is only going to get better over 1,200 metres, and I love the 4 weeks between runs.
Bang. I think that's the thing with this horse. He's got sensational first up profile. 6 starts for 5 wins and a second.
And the Marcamp figured it out after his third prep, maybe? They're like, so they targeted the Oakley Plate first up for his 4th prep with the camp.
Yep.
And there you go.
And he was still winning throughout the spring with 3 weeks between runs. I think you're right. 4 weeks between runs is cherry ripe sort of stuff. I love that. I can't believe he's got 3 in front of his price.
I think maybe just people are a little bit like, but, draw wide so you can rev him up around the outside. Maybe the straight's not long enough. Back to weight for age, blah, blah, blah. But no, I think they've figured this horse out, and this is the first time that they're leaving 4 weeks between runs and he stays at a sprinting trip.
He will get an Everest slot, Jimmy Starr. If he continues to get run to his efforts that we've seen, the problem for him is I don't think he really loves his Sydney leg. But
yeah, he's only been there a couple of times and failed, didn't he?
He came up here to Brisbane as well.
That's right, yeah.
But, he's not the Jimmy Starr that we're seeing now.
No, they were trying to stretch him out to a mile.
Exactly.
Back then. He's a fresh sprinting horse. He's like an overpass, but complete opposite style of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't possibly see any of these featuring Everest. I could easily see him featuring this year's Everest.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. The only other horse who I wanted to talk about because I think he's too short is number 4, Schwartz. I know he won over the Valley trip first up in a Group 2, but beating Stepati and Apache Song there, carrying 58.5 kilos. This is weight for age. He absolutely failed last start in the CF4. So I can understand what they're doing, and he'll roll forward. No, thank you. Like if you're getting Stretton Angel for a similar price and Benedetta for a slightly shorter price, like they're two mares that I'd much rather be on than Schwartz.
Yeah. No, I've learnt my lesson there. No thanks.
What about the lightly weighted filly, Arabian Summer?
Yeah.
She'll bring up the field, look the winner for a bit.
I read something during the week that Jamie Mellum was going to ride her in the Galaxy.
Oh, shit.
Then she didn't go there. So I think they might have seen that there's... I think the other thing in Jimmy's corner, just finally, is it's only a 9-horse field. So even if he is last on the fence, like, he's only going to be like 3 lengths off him.
Do you know what just reminded me of? I've got a flashback of Masked Crusader. 3 lengths off him, on the inside, field opened up, he just went bang. Yeah.
Just
need a short, sharp turn of foot and you're home.
Yeah. So, not an issue for me.
Yep.
It's like, trust the jock to not panic, similar to Frosty on Jolly Star.
Yep.
If the gaps come, this horse will win. Arabian Summer, just a tough filly. Big fan. $11 here. She was around the same quote in the Oakley Plate. Barrier 7 with Harry Coffey on. I don't know. Probably want to see her go out and do it. And 1,200 metres is a bit of a query for me for her as well.
Yep.
So, but she's an iron filly. So, yeah, Jimmy clear on top selection.
Yeah.
And the last race that we'll cover in Melbourne will be the Don Casbolt Classic Group 3 12-year-old, 1,200 3-year-old fillies, set weights and penalties. This was won last year by Gummy Gumdrops from Moesha and Inhibitions.
Gummy Gumdrops. Chewing gum. Finds herself in this race, but just wanted to point that out. I'm not actually going to back the horse.
No.
Number 8, Scalado. I think she's a very, very smart filly. She still hasn't quite figured it out, but she's undefeated. I thought $3.60 or whatever she was with Ned's last start was absolute jam. Duly saluted. I think $5.50 is jam here. I think that's a real, real good bet. Number 8, Scalado.
Tough. Her first start was on the 16th of January. That's a big prep.
It is. I think she's got oodles of talent, though. Every single time she stepped out to the races, she's looked green, but it's just beating them on raw talent. I really think she's a filly going places. Scalado. So yeah, Scalado on top for me. The only horse that I think's a threat and is over the odds is number 3, Amelita. Hasn't shown much this prep, but both times she's been to the races so far this prep, she's drawn wide. They've had to take her straight back, as you would typically see with a Chris Waller trained horse. You might recall she won down the Flemington Straight last year. Gate 2 here, WGD Jai on board. Just needs to be a little bit more prominent. I think $11 is a big price for her, but shit, I've bet on most of these. they're only 3-year-olds. That's scary.
Yeah. What about the full sister to Sunlight? Number 7, Clean Energy.
Clean Energy. Yep, super talented. Can understand why it's come up favourite. Beat Lady Shenandoah last prep. Oh, absolutely. I think it's a super talent, but Scalado. I just think Scalado's just doing that.
Yeah. There's some pedigree in this race. Obviously, the full sister to Sunlight being Clean Energy. Happy to see her do it. I thought she had every chance last start against Scalado, and she's drawn barrier 16 here. That's tough. That's real tough. What about number 10, Just Like Gabby, the daughter of Loving Gabby?
Good horse.
Yeah, she was phenomenal. Big girl, Loving Gabby, and I think her daughter here has got some talent. Whenever I said this when Shaggy won, whenever I see a horse go over the short distances, be it 1,000 or shorter, and they put up a big distance, she put up 4.5 lengths, albeit on her debut, maiden rather, 4.5 lengths over 1,000 metres at Moonee Valley. Then she went out the next start, in like the sprint series, benchmark 64 against the boys, won by 1.5 lengths over the 1,200 meters. Like, whenever I see that, I think that gets me up and about. So just like Gabby, just like her mum, thrives around the valley. So happy to have her on top at about 12-1.
Double market, $23 as well with the good people at Ned's. She won for us on Cox Plate Day.
Yeah.
Hasn't raced since the 1,000 Guineas, but there's been heaps of form coming out of that race. So another one, yeah, super open race, but keen to be with Scalado.
All right, let's get to Rosehill.
How'd we do for Moonee Valley? Was that about
20 mins?
I reckon that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I reckon this will take about double. We'll be talking for a while here. All right. Rosehill, rail is out 3 metres. There's about 4 mil of rain on Friday and 0 to 1 mil scheduled for Saturday. So, good track, nothing to worry about. Every horse should hopefully get their chance. Now, race 2 is the Epona Stakes. Group 3, 1,900 metres, set weights and penalties for the fillies and the mares. Last year, this was won by Osmos from Thalassophile and Riverport. So, don't necessarily remember that. I remember Osmos was like $3, even though she was a bit of a... She could run on a bit.
I do remember that because I think I backed her like the previous 2 starts or some shit like that, and she popped up and won on Golden Slipper Day. I was not a happy chappy. For me, I'm keen to be with It's a Knockout again. I backed her last start and just started to get going towards the end of the race, but in hindsight, it's probably silly to back her there at a short price and should have probably saved until the next start, which is here, where she's $5.50. Benchmark 78, she resumed 1,300 metres, had 4 weeks off, steps up to a mile in Group 3 quality, albeit with a bit of weight relief, and just couldn't reel in Little Bayer or Little Bayer?
Bayer.
Little Bayer from the Björn stable.
Björn.
Gate 5, Timmy on. I like that she's had that mile run, goes up to 1,900 metres, which again is a bit of a jump, but she's got oodles of talent, so I'm with this. It's a Knockout.
Yeah. I did this one before the odds came out, and I thought I would nail the market here, finding those two. I'm actually shocked at the price they are. Surprise hinged is the price that she is.
I think she just comes up relatively short in the market when it's against her own sex in a race like this.
It has to be a JMac tax there.
Yeah, it has to be.
I'm keen on her stablemate, though, for the same silks, Marymount Buller. This just looks like the perfect setup for her. Massive market support last start. She was about $4.20 to $3.40. Zach Lloyd sticks. She had the best closing sectionals of the race as well. And she's mile to 1,900, where the other horse I do like is your horse. It's a Knockout, but she's 13, 16, 19.
Yeah.
So I think Marymount Buller has had the perfect setup for this race. And she also meets, she gets a 3 kilo weight swing on Little Bayer. So I'm not concerned about her. And she actually gets a kilo weight swing on It's a Knockout as well. So she's perfectly weighted. Barrier 7 will be fine. She gets back to her home track here as well. There's no excuses here. $4.40, nearly my best bet of the day, I think. Mm-hmm. So, all right, the Mannion Cup, 2,400 metres, Group 3 handicap, won by Post Impressionist straight off the plane, if you remember last year, from Manzois and Almania. Where are any of the... I don't even... If I was to check the tapes, I don't think any horses won from that race.
Probably not.
This is where I saw horse number 2. Look at the jockey booking here. Hong Kong Huey's in town.
Hong Kong Huey is in town.
That gets me horny. I think if I was to... I haven't looked at his rides that closely, but I think he's on a lot of double-figure pops.
Oh, yeah. One being Celestial Legend at 60s.
I
don't think Huey can get him home. Huey's going to ride him straight to Arrowfield Stud, I reckon. Or Newgate Farm.
I thought this was... You could... I reckon you could get a lot of these out of your chances, i.e. there's a long tail here.
There is, yeah.
Alicante was a really super return, which resumed at the 2,000 metres, 2,400, big step up, but 4 tries at the distance for a win in 3 seconds. Will be the bunny to chase from Barry 5 TC on. She was super. But Birdman was good in a different race as well.
He was. And he's got to be my top selection. Tricky draw. We'll talk a bit more about that in a second. So needs some luck, but I thought he was great over 2,000 metres. Lugging 59.5 kilos, drops a stack of weight here. Gets Zachy Lloyd on. He's $4, so that's no spoil, but I think he's the horse who's doing a bit of this, and a lot of these are doing a bit of that, trending downwards. Someone in the ownership group of Birdman pointed out to me that Chris Waller doesn't have a lot of luck with barriers on occasion. So I think Chris has... how many horses in this race? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a 16 barrier race drifters. So of his 6 horses, he's drawn 10, and that's the best one. He's drawn 15, he's drawn 16, he's drawn 12, he's drawn 14, and he's drawn 11. So
that's pretty wild.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
There's got to be an investigation. Someone's got to be held accountable.
Especially because it's his home track.
It's his home track.
He's getting the visitors' draws.
He is. But, keen to be with Birdman. Alicante, sorry, was fantastic resuming. So wouldn't shock. They're probably the only 2 that I could have.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll have to give the source a ring and see...
Which way is he going to go? Left or right?
Yeah. Well,
I thought the source loved birds, man.
I think Birdman will be the way, just because third up to 2,400. I think that mile run at first up for him was just a prep run, basically. Yeah. Whereas Alicante, the stable will have him her rock hard fit rather, but 2,000 metres, nothing like match fitness, I always say.
Yeah.
2024 is a tough ask.
Yeah.
But she is versing a bunch of absolutely dross horses. So, anyway, I digress. Now, race 4 is the Derby Munro Stakes, listed 1,200 metres set weights penalties for the 3-year-olds. Last year, this was won by Brave Mead from Schwartz and Corniche. Now, this was the start of my Corniche fetish, where I backed him every start for about 4 in a row.
He's a funny horse.
He won from nowhere on a heavy 10 on the Sunshine Coast.
That's right.
That was a sensational win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I knew he had some talent, and I got some of it back, but not all of it. Autumn Glow, $1.95, 1,200 metres, barrier 3, J Mac, bone chip removed. Trials have been good at parts, been dross in others. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I think if you want to have a bet on Autumn Glow, I completely get it. I'd want bigger than $2 if I was having a bet, but I'm just keen to see how she goes. I'm not having a bet in this race purely because I don't want to try and get a beat. I'm just keen to see how she goes. I don't know if we've discussed this on the podcast, but she's a half sister to In the Congo. Right. So same dam. So Via Africa has some talent. Resuming at 1,200 metres for a horse who I think is going to get out over further, I actually don't mind because she's had the 3 trials, and she gets a nice gait. And if you saw her in her last trial, finished 5 of 9, but she was absolutely trucking, and J-Mac had to pull her up. So I think she's ready to go. She's clearly a filly with a lot of talent. I want to see her run well. So Hermitage, who have the Lady Shenandoah Silks, they're in the ownership for Autumn Glow as well.
Spoil of riches.
Yes, spoil of riches. After a little bit of a drought post the autumn sun. And Egg Tart, actually.
Egg Tart.
was another one of theirs.
Yeah. She was one of those staying types that Chris Waller was convinced was a miler for some reason. He does that from time to time.
He
doesn't
certainly does, and can ruin a horse's career.
Yeah.
But anyway,
one of them is actually resuming this week.
Yes, one of them is Kovalika. Yeah, what do you are you keen to have a bet, or are you just going to watch, or what do you reckon?
Just for a horse that I was keen to back in a vinery, happy to take her on here.
Yeah.
Like, the odds are just too... They're too... the wolves are out.
Yeah, they are.
So there's two, and I'm backing in that fireball form, bruh. So be it enriched at 9-1, was absolutely kissed on his cult penis. Had the absolute dream run, taking the inside lane. But tell you what, a filly down the bottom is an enormous price from that same race. Catch the Glory, Josh Bell, former colleague of ours, is in the ownership group of this filly as well. Mm-hmm. And I think if I was in the ownership of this filly, I would be up and about. Barry 6, JC on, like 34-1 she is. I think that's a huge price.
It's a big price.
I think she's been racing absolutely super. So keen to see her step up to the 1,200 metres as well. 54 kilos, Barry 6. I think she's a great 1x3 play. Yep. Massive price. So, yeah. Give me Team Fireball. You know what I mean?
Listen to the man. He knows the source really well. Gets the inside word.
All right, race 5, Group 1, Rambit Stakes, 2,000 metres, Group 1, Way for Age. Via Sistina won this last year on her Australian debut from, who'd she beat?
Place to Carousel. I think Buckaroo might have been third.
There you go. Interesting. So, well, you could... Firstly, you can't really tip against her. $1.45, like, sure. Like, let's get that out of the way. On top selection. But, full count Felicia. When's the last time we had a Group 1 winner from Canada here?
Yeah, like, God knows. Another one that Yulong's bought and brought over. And I have no idea how Canadian racing compares to Australian racing. I'd say it's probably weaker. But at the same time, you've got to pay respect to any horse who wins a Group 1, anywhere it is all over the world. But yeah, good to see William Haggis has got some horses here again to R&P, our Autumn Riches, Al Mabia, the son of Frankel.
Yeah.
Look out.
Listed winner over 2,000 metres in England.
Which is probably a genuine Group 1 horse here. But Via Sistina is different gravy. So,
like, Via Sistina... Her resume was already glowing.
Yeah.
Like, she was...
she opened at like 4s, didn't she?
Yeah, and then she got... That was one of the biggest goes I've ever seen. That was because we were at Moonee.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Ahead of my wedding.
Yeah.
Where it did... When I say it did not stop raining, it did not stop raining.
It did not stop raining.
But yes...
Her CV was...
Yeah, she placed in a Colton Champions Stakes or Champions Mile.
Yeah.
Like the actual ones, not our ones.
Yeah, the actual ones.
Yeah.
From the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, so...
So now, all things being equal, she will be incredibly hard to beat, but I'll just watch that race, I think, mate.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah. Now, race 6 is the Rosehill Guineas. You do not get your wish. Who won this last year? Riff Rocket. And knocked off Cheerwolf and Cap Ferrat, who I believe is doing his work in Hong Kong these days.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Broadsiding, $2.30. Doesn't go to the George Ryder.
No.
He lines up here.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
I'm keen to take him on.
You really fell out of love with him.
I really have. He's one of those horses who has been doing rain dances since the start of the year, praying for it to come for the Autumn Carnival. And it just hasn't come. He's run super resuming. He got the perfect run in transit. I just think linebacker last start ran out of his skin. But if broadsiding was as good as what I thought he was, he still should have ran past him.
Yeah.
And stepping out to 2,000 metres, there is nothing in that. Like, he ran super last start, don't get me wrong, to run second, but there's nothing in that run that suggested to me that he's a morale for this at $2.30. I thought Swift Falcon ran super as well. Will he be better out over 2,000 metres? I'm not sure. I think this is a run to probably bring him back to the mile for the Donny.
Yeah.
I think they should definitely run him and see how he goes, but his spring championship run last prep gives me a little bit of an ick about Swift Falcon. And I think Aliana, like, against the boys, like,
What is she doing here?
they don't want to take it to the vinery because Treasure of the Moment's got a mortgage on that race.
Jeez.
But again, there's nothing from last start that suggests to me that she's going to be better out over 2,000 metres. Daughter of Castelvecchio, and I think she's out of a Redute's Choice, no, a Star Witness mare, sorry. But I think she could be absolutely a 2,000 metre horse, but there's nothing to suggest to me that she's going to improve out over 2,000 metres. Whereas there's a horse who ran super in the Aussie Guineas who I know is going to be better out over 2,000 metres because he's won a Vic Derby. And that's number 2, Gold Rush Guru.
Yeah.
Is the Australian Guineas comparable to the Randwick Guineas? Probably not. But I thought he ran super, and I thought Jamie probably left it a bit too late. I think he'll be ridden forward here, and I think they'll use him up early because they know he's got the stamina to win. So Gold Rush Guru's come back way better than what I thought he would. I'm going to have him on top. He was a bigger price when markets opened. He's coming in a little bit now, but be interesting to see what happens with him. I think he'll roll forward and make his own luck.
Fascinating. Because I've done the numbers on the Randwick and the Australian Guineas. Now, comparing different racetracks on raw times is fraught with danger.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the Randwick Guineas was run at 11 lengths quicker.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. They walked up front in the Aussie Guineas.
Yeah. So it kind of, and he's also, they were not on the same weekend. So the Randwick Guineas was a week later.
Yep.
So he's had 3 weeks between runs, whereas Broadsiding, Swift Falcon, Aliana have had 2 weeks.
Yep.
Does that concern you at all? Do you reckon he might be a touch underdone?
I don't think so because he's had the 3 runs compared to their 2. And for me, because he was the start prior in the CS Hayes Stakes, he trucked up the field and then faded late. And then he dashed home to not just miss, but he dashed home in the Aussie Guinea. So it's a horse to me. He's got versatility and he can sit off a sedate pace, but he can also take him up and lead. And because they don't have linebacker here, I think J-Mac from Gate 9 on Broadsiding is going to think, I'm not going to try and lead up this field. He'll take him back and try and get like a, 2 wide with cover somewhere midfield. Swift Falcon's going to go back, even though he's in a good gate, and Aliana in Gate 1 is probably going to be relatively forward, maybe midfield. And I'm looking at the rest of this field, I'm thinking, yeah, there's a bit here. There's a few coming over from NZ, like Checkmate. But for me, if I'm Jamie Carr, I'm thinking I'm just going to lead up this field and take control. And I know that my guy's got the stamina to probably go at a pretty good clip and try and leave him hanging on the Rosehill bend. I've given this race a bit of thought.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm just trying to look for an alternate outside of those Randwick Guineas horses.
Interesting. I've got a theory about another one to kind of lob into, might not like the good track kind of basket. Aliana. So
Okay.
So
I have never thought about her and Dex yet. So
6 attempts on good tracks for 1 win, and a second and a third. That 1 win was the first race on Derby Day. So
Yes.
Flemington would have had a bit more give in it,
yeah.
as well. And she's 2-2 from soft. Now that's very early days, very short kind of sample size. But I've got a feeling that she might not appreciate it, and she might just, with a little bit more cut in, she'll show her absolute best. Tough ask for her as well, wanting to go against the boys here.
And another thing against her is, what have we said about her? Big track horse.
Yeah.
This is a home deck, but it's still not a big track.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
against her.
So happy to be proven wrong there. And if you like her, she's a price to find out at $6.50. I never thought I would land on this horse again. It's Swift Falcon. I just keep coming back to him. His 2 runs have been really, really have been fantastic. the stable are they just doing like mind games to the public, which they're known to do? It's like, he just doesn't run out 2,000 metres, where it's just like saving face a bit.
Well, if that was the case, then he wouldn't fucking be here.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be in the George Ryder.
Yeah, so I think they do think that.
Yeah.
So Barry 4 for him. As you kind of said, I could see him going back again, but he drew a Barry 4 and he was about midfield. So if he's in that sort of slot, I think he's the one. If he can show the turn of foot at the end of this sort of distance, which I believe he can just to the eye, his breeding doesn't necessarily suggest that. He's the one I want to be on. But Gold Rush Guru, he's the risk for me. He's the one that that alternative form line. I think it will be prominent in the finish.
Yep.
So interesting. Race 7 is the George Ryder. Oh, this is tough. This is a tough race. Won last year by V8, Lady Laguna, and Militarized were in the placings there. So we see Militarized return here at 46-1. But Cheerwolf, Tommy Kitten, Royal Patronage, Buckaroo, Gringotts, Militarized, Celestial Legend, Kovalika, Port Lockroy, Fangirl, and Steffi Magnetica. J-Mac returns on Fangirl. She cannot draw a gate, Fangirl. Barry 9.
Yeah.
If you were to look at her career,
A lot of shockers.
A lot of shockers. So I think she's the starting point, right? Are you shocked to hear that in her 31 career starts, she's only been to Rosehill 3 times?
Wow. That is a shock. Golden Eagle once, obviously.
Yep.
Was she in this race last year?
2 years ago when Animo won.
That's right. She ran super from memory.
Yep. She got held up and she arguably should have won. And then she was in a far lap stakes on a heavy track, so, disregard that in her 3-year-old year. So I thought that was interesting. It's like home deck, but she kind of seems like a Randwick type of horse, right?
Yep. Yeah, she absolutely. I'm prepared to take her on in this race. I can understand why she's favourite, but there's 2 that I think can beat her home, and they're both drawn super. Royal Patronage, like he's drawn gate 3. Why can't Timmy Clark just take him to the front again and just be tough up front and be incredibly hard to beat?
I think the only reason why the market will spit him out is because he was such a big price last start.
Well, yeah.
But he's $4.60.
I think he can win.
Yeah.
I think he can win. I think I'm looking at this field. There's horses to me who like to be prominent, but there's none who are out and out leaders. He's the only one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they could just gift it to him. So he's got to be in my numbers. I think he's a massive winning chance. There's a horse who I think's announced himself as a weight for age horse, particularly over this sort of distance, because he had to lug 61 kilos resuming over an unfavourable 1,300 metres, and he arguably should have won. He lost to Iona Merck, and with your blessing, Iona Merck's absolutely flying at the moment, but had 4 kilos more than him last start. Number 5, Gringotts. He's $8.50 with Neds. He's got the perfect gate with Tommy Berry on board. I think he's going to sit just behind Royal Patronage. This horse we know can lug some weight. He lugged a lot of fucking weight towards back in the last prep. And for me, he's the one who's the genuine 1,500, 1,600 metre horse. At weight for age, I think he can sit just outside Royal Patronage or just behind him, and then he can just flick the switch and can win and announce himself as a genuine weight for age horse, Gringotts. So he's the one on top for me. From Royal Patronage. And there's another horse who, if it is a sort of, not a sit and sprint, but if they're not going too quick, and if he can sit relatively close, he's drawing a little bit sticky. But what's the All-Star Mile winner, Kitty Cat Tom, done wrong? He loves the placing at this track.
He's a big price.
He's a big price.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the price that he's come up.
Yeah.
Benny Mellum, he's not here for a holiday, is he?
No. He's the travelling companion for Jamie Mellum, his wife.
He is.
But yeah, Kitty Cat Tom's a huge price as well. His problem is he just is so slow out of the gate.
He's Barry Menace. Need to get sorted out.
So he's going to be right up the arse end, but he has a turn of foot that can kind of overcome that.
Be a tiger in the gates. Tommy, not a kitten.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this race out. I think I'm going back between like Royal Patronage, Kitty Cat Tom, Fangirl, even Cheerwolf to an extent. But his prep is just giving me the ick a little bit. 1400 back to 1300 up to 15. I think I want to see him in the Queen Elizabeth.
Yep.
Like, I think that's where I'm assuming that's his grand final this prep. Whereas, yeah, I don't know about these. I'd say this probably would be Fangirl's grand final this prep.
Yeah, you'd say so.
Yeah.
You'd say, oh, she wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But I just, she can run on a bit, and I'm prepared to take her on. Yeah.
Buckaroo, Barry 1. He'll probably get the gun run behind the lead, I reckon.
He would not shock to finish top 3. If he's improved from last prep, he wouldn't shock me at all.
You know what the mistake was there? He jumped $6 favourite in the Melbourne Cup. Can you believe that?
Yeah, crazy.
That is utter madness. Like, there's nothing about his... neither with the winner, to be fair, Knight's choice. But there was nothing about his breeding that suggested he would run that out. You see it was, I was going to say Zapateo, Zardozi, and other Melbourne Cup runners. They're just dour their next prep. So kind of want to see him, do it to an extent. So, yeah, still in a bit of a pretzel with the George Ryder. The Golden Slipper is race 8. Won last year by Lady of Camelot with Coleman and Stormboy into third with Traffic Warden at 51 running fourth as well. Sheesh. Fascinating barrier draw. What do you want to do? Do you want to do like a little runner by runner?
Let's do runner by runner.
All right, cool. Rivellino, the absolute winning machine for Chris Lees with Hong Kong Huey on board.
FIFO Hugh.
Wow. So JC... Jason Klett rode him last start. J-Mac the start prior. And Benjamin Osborne. Osmond, rather. Start prior to that. So four career starts, 4 different jocks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jason Klett rode within the law last. Yeah, so he I don't think he flipped a coin. I think he was like, I'll stick with this one.
Yeah.
Which is so fair. He's the only... one of 2 horses in this field is undefeated. And look, his margins have been small each time, but he's a line chaser. Hasn't drawn a gate his last 2 and has had to come from the back of the field and has managed to find a way to do it. I think Chris Lees is an underrated trainer. He's drawn a gate, Hong Kong Hugh, and he's at a backable price at $11. I think he can win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Devil Knight, barrier 11, Mick D for the Hawks stable.
If you said to me when he won the Blue Diamond that, he'd pop up here at $11 and the form behind him in the Blue Diamond would be absolutely electric, with Temptress winning and Tempted winning, and now Tempted's probably going to start favourite in this race, it would have been like, nah, something will turn up in Sydney, or a couple of things will turn up in Sydney that'll just blow the Blue Diamond out of the water. It hasn't, and he's only had 2 career starts. He comes here with a bit of a sticky gate, but again, he's $11. You could have got a much bigger price for him probably a week ago. If Mickey D can get him, forward of midfield and try and find the fence, it's a sticky gate, which I think ruins his chances a lot. But it would not surprise me if he's improved out of that last run and he'll have a tough on-pace run again here and still feature in the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tough for him, to be honest. Just with that barrier draw.
Yeah, Barrier killed him.
And he kind of fell in that day.
He did.
The Blue Diamond.
I agree. I think he did, but I think the counter argument to that is it's like, it was Bro's second ever start.
Yeah.
So if he improves, he might just fall in here.
Yeah, true. North England. So the way I read the speed in this race, I thought a lot of the speed is drawn out, and North England's the one that's closest, and he's in barrier 9. So I have, outside of him, Farsighted, Baywatch, Bellazane, Military Tycoon, potentially even Devil Knight, all going forward. So if anything wants to take a position from the inside half of the field, I think it's wide open for the taking.
And you can't tell me that horses, even on the inside, have drawn in, who in the last few races have gone back. You can't tell me they're not going to try and kick up and be prominent.
No, Rivellino, great example.
Yeah.
So North England fits my theory and my profile of 2-year-olds where have had that start.
The prep before January, yeah.
And he was an impressive winner in the Golden Gift in November at the end of last year as well. I think that was a pass mark, all things considered. Probably a run behind where they'd like to be with this horse, but was only beaten less than 2 lengths behind Tentris, who, if he was here, he'd probably be favourite.
Yep.
I could see him improving, but going to risk.
Yep. Tycoon Star has been, he's been the classic sort of flashing light each of his runs. He sort of loomed up to win the Blue Diamond, but just teetered out. And you could say the same in the Todman, but he's drawn well here. He gets Mark. He's $18. If he won, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
it's one of those races.
Yep. West of Swindon, Barrier 4, great draw. Missed the run last week, just to line up here. I believe there was something about his lameness potentially last week. So
there's some clouds over West of Swindon. I think he's got a lot of talent. He could be one who, if he runs well here, maybe look for him in a Sires. But what do you reckon? Just
I wasn't in my numbers, but if there's any doubt over there. Like health, especially 2-year-olds, I'm happy to risk. And if they win, there's another race.
Yeah.
Baywatch, possibly the best roughie in the race at $51. Dog shit barrier. Hippo on. But if you're to kind of, this horse beat West of Swindon home 2 starts ago, and he's more than double the price. And he just kind of got fizzed up and over-raced, and nothing went right for him last start. But it was a pretty impressive win.
Yeah, it really was.
2 back ago.
Well, look, who's his daddy?
Biv.
Biv sometimes could turn up and blow the field away, and sometimes he did not want to be there. And maybe he's just like his daddy, Baywatch. So, yeah, $51. Again, wouldn't shock. We just wouldn't.
Yeah, Skyhook, I think he's my top selection from a Colts perspective. I think he's the first Colt home. That was a sensational win in the Pago last week. We've seen that form stack up at times. I don't think he needs to lead here.
Tactically versatile.
Yes, very tactically versatile. Dog shit stable. Has to do a lot as well. So my query on him is his first race start was on the 15th of February. Like, that is a lot. That's a big mountain to climb so early in your career. So that's the one question mark on me for him.
The favourite, just been knocked off the top of the tree for favouritism. Number 8, Woden, the only Chris Waller horse, obviously has J-Mac. Drawn super. For mine, you can have him. I feel for everyone who dived into the odds that were around this price or shorter, because I wouldn't be surprised if he balloons even more on race day. I just think the bookies have probably got so much money in futures that they've had to put him up at a relatively short price. He wouldn't shock me, Woden, but he had every possible chance to win in the Todman when Tentris beat him home. I think J-Mac gave him a peach. Look, he's had a bit of a gear change, Winker's first time. Yes, he's a Coolmore horse. Yes, Chris Waller in a grand final, but you can have him. If he pops up and wins, it's just like, well, okay, you can have him.
Like, my thinking is like this is going to be a more genuinely run race, where I think his 2 starts here have been run at pretty sedate speeds. So potentially you'll see him go to the next level.
Yeah.
But my thinking is like, I'd rather bet on the horses that have shown more than him to exceed when they go to that next level.
They're a bigger price here.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And the price is just utter madness.
Yeah.
Waller, J-Mac, Coolmore factor. Just, if he wins, so be it. Was never going to back him anyway. So it's like, let's move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. King of Pop was the Black Opal winner in Canberra a couple of weeks ago. Nice winner. Typically dog shit form for a race like this.
Yep.
Barrier 18 does not help.
No, it doesn't. And apparently, he smashed the clock in the Black Opal, but no, you can have him.
Yeah. Quietly Arrogant. I'm seeing some There's always one at a big price. They're like, this thing is flying.
Yeah.
And they typically do nothing. But again, this horse kind of fits that profile a little bit. Kicked off his career in December of last year. Was arguably unlucky when in that Skyline Stakes behind Rivellino, as a lot of them were in that bunch finish. Barrier 7, Tommy Berry, who knows how to win a slipper.
Yeah, I can understand why there's a push for Quietly Arrogant. You've also got to trust the Snowden stable to get these 2-year-olds to peak on their day. I think if he had different silks, he'd be a bigger price.
Yeah, okay. Far-sighted, that's the Black Opal, Quinella, drawing barriers 17 and 18 here.
Yeah, shit, yeah, I didn't notice that, but yeah.
$41, Josh Parr, Waterhouse Bot. Yeah, I think others preferred.
Absolutely.
Here we go, Within the Law. Barrier 13 for her, still 14 to 1 is an enormous price for her. And as I've kind of said, I just love a 2-year-old that has that previous prep from before January. So looking through her profile, she's had the 4 career starts. She kicked off her career on Champions Day at Flemington, the 9th of November last year. Impressive winner there, 5 weeks between runs. Wins the English Nursery, finding a lot of trouble there. 8 weeks between runs, goes into the English Millennium. Just perfect kind of preparation for her.
Yep.
Absolute line chaser, certified line chaser. Possibly the worst barrier draw of the lot, barrier 13. She's in amongst the speed horses. She's going to have to go back. That's her pattern anyway. But there's going to have to be divine intervention, and she's got the right jockey with the right initials to kind of get her over the line.
Jason Collett, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
and look, Björn's flying at the moment, and it's probably fitting that when his stable's at the hottest it's ever been, that he gets his golden slipper winner. She's in my numbers, absolutely. I don't have her on top Within the Law, but and the reason why I don't is probably because of that gate. She just probably needs a bit too much luck for me to have her on top, but I'd be shocked if you didn't have her on top.
Yeah, so big fan of Within the Law. Tempted, impressive winner last start. Probably starts favourite, $5 with the good people in there. It's Blake Shin.
Blakey Bill.
Interesting, because I reckon, is Craig at this meeting?
Craig Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
I didn't see his name.
No, I haven't yet.
Because he bred her in the Blue Diamond, so I'm assuming he would have maintained the ride. He didn't do a bad job there. It just didn't go his way. No. Anyway, Tempted could quite possibly get the Fireburn type run.
I think so, yeah.
Fireburn got the Drew Barrier 1, basically go around one horse. And
Shinzo.
Yeah.
Did the same thing.
Exactly. They're going to fan. Don't be too spooked about the barrier. She might be back in the field, but she'll save a lot of ground on the fence, guaranteed. Impressive winner last start. I think the runner-up has some talent as well, as you kind of highlighted, watching that again. $5, probably a bit short for a market like this for me.
Yeah, she's in my numbers, Tempted. If you take out her Blue Diamond run where she was slowly away, and that was a race that you probably wanted to be midfield and no worse. But she started to warm up late and then obviously got crunched in the market last start and duly saluted in a time that was better than the boys. So I can understand why she's favourite, Tempted. So she's absolutely in my numbers. And Blakey Bill, gate 1, 2 massive ticks.
Yeah. Bella's Aim, barrier 15. Best of luck to She-Boss and the connections. How exciting to have a slipper runner.
Absolutely. Just nabbed late on the line by Within the Law. She's another one who has that profile where she debuted prior to the new year. Gate 15 makes it very, very tricky. But, yeah, congratulations to the connections. What a thrill.
Yeah. Military Tycoon bringing some, I guess, how can I put this politely, lower grade Melbourne form. But you can only do what you can do against who you're running against. Would be shocked.
Yeah, so would So would I.
Now, Mahuna, barrier 6, fantastic draw for this filly. Daughter of Schnitzel, in the same silks of Estajab, I believe, who won a slipper in 2018, I reckon. Barrier 6 will probably just be behind the speed, I reckon, getting one of the runs of the race.
Yeah, and, she sat off a hot speed last start in the race that Tempted one, and I thought she stuck on really, really well, considering she absorbed all that pressure, which bodes well for her in this race. So I can understand why she's $11. Particularly when the favourites Tempted and only just beat her. I like Mahuna. I couldn't fit her in my numbers, and the reason being is because, this comes at her third start, and that was a bit of a gut buster that she had last start. So I think she's a filly with loads of talent, and she wouldn't shock, but I just haven't been able to fit her in my numbers.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a couple more emergencies, which we probably won't even touch on. So...
Oh, nepotism. I didn't even notice. Second emergency.
Yeah.
He's the one that I've got future tickets in the size produce for drifters.
Where'd you land? What's your top 4?
I'm actually going to go with Rivellino. I backed him last start, even though I didn't really remember that I did. And for mine, I've gone back and watched his replays, and he's a horse who doesn't brain him, but he gets there when he needs to. And last start drew gate 9. Start before that, gate 13. Was wide with a little bit of cover when J-Mac rode him, and had to get going a long way out and end up beating Within the Law, who I think can win this race. And then last start, Skyhook was shit out of luck, and she probably should have won the Skyline Stakes, but Rivellino had to come from the back of the field as well, and arguably worked just as hard to get to where he got to. What I like about him as well is that Hong Kong Huey's on, and we know he's going to ride this thing a treat. He's also out of a So You Think mare. So the 1,200 metres as a 2-year-old means I think this guy's got some serious constitution. So gate 3, I think he'll sit just off the speed and use that little turn of foot that he's got to get home. So Rivellino's on top for me, and plus he's $11. So happy to have him on top. The Blue Diamond winner, Devil Knight. I think it's too tricky for him to get the job done, but if he improves from the Blue Diamond, we've seen the good form come out of that race, I think he can feature. Within the Law, she's a big price. Tricky gate, but if there's a lot of speed on, she can pounce through the middle if she gets a bit of luck, so she can absolutely win. And then Tempted, the Godolphin filly. Yep, I think that's my top 4.
Yeah, well, I've got 3 very similar. On top selection is Within the Law. No surprises there. On at 20s. We'll have another go at 14s. I just love her setup. Absolute line chaser. $30,000 purchase. Just Bjorn Baker's flying.
You love to see it.
Yeah. Jason Collette, I think's won 8 Group 1s. I don't believe he's won a slipper. And he's pulled the wrong rein sometimes. So he was riding Fireburn, and then he chose the other Portelli.
Really?
Colt.
Yeah.
So Brendan Abdullah ran.
That's right. Yeah.
Rode Fireburn. So I think he's kind of owed one in a way.
Yeah.
So Within the Law on top for me. Been banging on about her for a while. Skyhook I cannot ignore from last week. That was just a really sensational win. And I think he's drawn perfectly. Kieran is in a bit of vein of form. Tempted, my second filly. I think barrier 1, she will just get an absolute dream run with Blake Shin on, and then Rivellino into 4th as well. So they're my top 2 fillies and my top 2 colts.
Yep.
All right, the Galaxy. Race 9. Who won this last year? Zapateo.
Sunshine in Paris.
I swear I'm nearly over it.
That hurt, man.
Front Page ran 3rd there as well.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So he can fly first up front Page, but let's have a look here. Private Harry, barrier 6, Ashley Morgan is the jock. He's ridden him every single start. Briasa at $7 is your second favourite, with the likes of Growing Empire with J-Mac on. Mark Zara's at this meeting. He's not taking the ride. I'm assuming because he can't ride 56, maybe? I don't know. I reckon he could.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, where'd you land?
Yeah, I I like Private Harry, and he's short. But if you look at his last start, he absolutely brained Lady of Camelot and Arabian Summer.
Form's held up, hasn't it?
The form's held up significantly, and what I like is they'll like put a circle around this race, even though his rating definitely wasn't there at the time, and they're like, nah, this is what we're going to aim him towards. I like that it's 1,100 metres. He's got a good gait. Ash Morgan, the Welsh jockey, I believe, he's been riding super.
Nathan Doyle, who we actually had a horse with at one point.
Yes, we did. I think he can jag his first Group 1 here, Nathan Doyle. I do. So, and he's beware the undefeated horse, all that sort of stuff. $3.20 with Neds is absolutely no spoil. Rock bottom odds for a horse like this, but I think he can win.
We also know where all the others up top are.
We do, absolutely.
From basically Estriella up, like I know where Marzu's at. With all due respect.
We know where Marzu's at after 34 starts.
They're putting her up on English digital sales. Lady Laguna, we need to see her return to her best. Like Growing Empires cannot run straight.
Yeah.
That's why they've got J-Mac. Like Dragonstone, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I'm with you.
So I'm Team New Brigade.
Yes. Private Harry for me. The other one that I was like, I wasn't expecting to see here, but it makes complete sense, is Commemorative.
Yeah.
Gate 2, the big mare. She's only got a lug, 51 kilos with Zachy Lloyd on. I think she's starting to realise a bit of that potential. I think she probably is a little bit better, maybe drawn slightly out a bit further because she's such a big mare. But at $7.50, I could not talk you out of that. So they're the two for me. And Growing Empire, like it'd be just like J-Mac to get on him and win in a race like this. Back round a bend. I'm hoping from Gate 7 they don't try and ride him forward. Ride him cold. They've tried to ride him forward the last few and it just hasn't worked out for him. Ride him cold. Try and sweep late. That's how I'm seeing the race.
What did he start in at Everest? He started $9.
Yeah, shit.
And, you know, this is a handicap, so I get that. But he's got 56 kilos. As a 3-year-old, tough, but $7.50, like, there's worse bets to have. Mate, I was taken by the grey Briasa.
Yeah.
Won a couple of, like, he's only coming through his benchmark sort of grades, but did win the Hunter, and he was absolutely smashed that day in the betting. 3 wide, no cover, 1,300 metres, and still absolutely brained that lot. Like, was really, really impressive. Was really taken by his trial. Like, basically loomed up, pushed the button, and he just put lengths on him. I'm like, okay, this horse I think he's got a lot of talent. This stable can never draw a gate, I swear. So, don't know where he'll get in the run from barrier 15, but in this sort of contest, I'm like, I'd rather just take the punt that he does go to the next level here. At $7. I think that's a good bet to have. Private Harry's the obvious danger and Commemorative. I'm team like low in the handicap here. And of the ones above, I think Front Page can be in the finish again. Like 55 kilos, barrier 5, TC on, will likely go forward and set a cracking pace for this lot.
Yep.
So that's how I saw the Galaxy. Now, the birthday card stakes, this was won by Chain of Lightning last year, before she won the TJ, believe it or not.
Yeah, shit.
And then defeating Tashi and Wee Nessie. And Alentia was into 4th that day. Now, Commemorative is dual nommed. Now, she has barrier 2 in the Galaxy and barrier 1
scratched.
here. Has she?
She must have been scratched while we were talking, yeah.
Right.
Just refresh the page.
Okay. Well, good.
There you go.
Because, I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? Because she was rising in weight. Don't need to worry about that.
Don't need to worry about it. I like She's an A-lister in this. She's $6 with the good people at Ned's. Bjorn Baker in the last is starting to become a bit of a thing. Complete Forgive last start. She had cardiac arrhythmia. And I think she was well in the market there. Probably sub $5 in the Commemorative race. So Complete Forgive. Nice gate. $6 with the good people at Ned's. Baker in the last to bring us home. Deliver us the goods.
Yeah.
Deliver us the baked goods. Bjorn.
I still need to do more on this race.
Yeah, so fair.
it is a tough contest. Like Rose Bloom, for all you J-Max sycophants, this horse was a French import that had one start in the Hot Danish, where Belclair was just like
Flying.
absolutely flying, and was backed from 13s into like $8, and then got beaten by 6 lengths. So it's like trials have been nothing special. Waller first up, I don't know. I'm in an absolute pretzel with this race.
Fair enough.
One of the hardest races of the entire day. So Golden Slipper is the highlight for you.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
Yeah, mate.
I do have a special request
Uh.
just to end off the episode. Now, look, the Broncos are playing the Cowboys this Friday night. It's the Queensland Derby. And a listener of the podcast who will remain nameless has been having great success on the same game multis with the good people at Ned. So I wanted to just push out something for the Drifters to give you a little bit of a fill-up on Friday before a big day on the punt Saturday.
Huge.
So same game multi, we've got Broncos versus North Queensland Cowboys. These are all ATS, anytime try scorers. Jesse Arthurs, he's a try-scoring machine. Doesn't stop playing a weaker team. These are the notes.
Good head of hair on Jesse as
Looking
well.
phenomenal. Reece Walsh had an absolute shocker last week. He's got something to prove. He'll score. Talangi likes to score on the Broncos by all accounts. And Jeremiah Nanai, he was dropped to Queensland Cup last week. He's also got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he always scores against the Bronx apparently. So if we look at that,
$20.60.
put that jam on your toast, spread it and eat it. Just to end off, just to end the episode with a bit of jam.
Okay. All right. Tipping comp?
Yes, the tipping comp. So we've had a fair few people jump on board. Another email will go out tonight as a reminder, and I'll post something on our socials. And then I'll probably send another reminder on Friday as well. But it looks like we're probably up to about,
I know, 50,000.
Yeah, something like 50,000. So probably up about 1,000 from last year. So it's looking really good. So just a reminder, Drifter, to sign up because it starts this weekend with 6 Group 1s.
Sign up, Buttercup. Come on. Don't fuck around.
Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, 6 Group 1s. Cannot wait to, have... God, how many points will that be? Because double points were within the law. So I can't even... In the mindset that I'm currently in at the moment, I can't do that math.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yours truly would be at the top of the tree.
6 by 6, if you're picking double figure in each of them, is 36 points. So it could be competition one and done.
Yeah, good night nurse sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back on Sunday to review it all. See you later.
See you, Drifters.